Hi there everybody, and welcome to the Point Blank Bachelor of Arts Honours Degree in Music Production and Sound Engineering webinar. My name is Luke. I'm one of the senior course advisors here at Point Blank, and I'm very pleased to be joined by our Music Production and Sound Engineering Programme Leader, Alex Funcy. How are you doing?
Hi Luke, I'm good. Good to see you.
Thanks so much for joining us, and thank you everybody online for joining us as well. Today really is an opportunity for you to find out more about our music production and sound engineering degree. Now, one of the things about being a webinar and being online is that you can join us from anywhere in the world, and hopefully there are many of you who are logging in from wherever you might be on all four corners of the globe. So let us know in the chat room where you might be logging in from. We'll give you a little shout out a little later on, and yeah, it'd be great to know where everyone's from. Now, I'd like to start off by maybe just giving you a quick overview of what we've got in store for you today. I'm going to be doing a short presentation, just going into a bit more detail about Point Blank Music School, about the course in particular, as well as looking at our state-of-the-art facilities. Following on from that, Alex is going to guide us through the course itself. We're going to be kind of deep diving into all the modules, all of the content, just so you can get a better feel for what you might be learning when you come and study this course. Now, we've also got a chat room that my colleague John is manning at the moment, and there's going to be an opportunity for you to have your questions answered. So we're going to be running a Q&A at the end of the session too. So make sure you pop those questions in the chat room. Alex and I are going to be answering those. And Alex has also got a pretty special kind of workshop that he's going to be doing, kind of going through some of the teaching that you can expect from Point Blank. So really looking forward to that. I think you've got some cool stuff, some nice tunes that you've done that we're going to be checking out a little later on. Before we get started, however, though, I wanted to share with you just a quick video just highlighting, the course in general. There's a bit more from Alex, so you'll see him in just a second. So let's go and take a look at this.
My name's Alex Funzi. I'm the Programme Leader for the Music Production Sound Engineering BA programme. The level 4 is where you come in, it's where you start, it's your first year. So that level we've got modules like music composition, music production, sound design, sound engineering, music industry. It's kind of the foundation set of modules for the BA programme. Level 5 is a module called Creative Production and Remix, and that's really where we start to bring together the different skills I learned at level 4. So production skills, composition, potentially some sound design, and it's working with a supplied set of songs and exploring the creative possibilities around remixing and remix culture. Level 6 I would teach on the portfolio module, which is ultimately what students are working their way towards. By the end of their degree, they're looking to create a portfolio project, and that might be a sound engineering project, it might be a composing for media project, it might be an audio for games project, or it might be an artist EP. And at level 6 generally we're aiming for the students to be more autonomous in their learning and really kind of getting them ready for going out there into the world and working in industry.
Studying sound engineering should hopefully open up many career avenues. Having the fundamental knowledge and understanding of how to work with audio, be it recording, mixing, mastering, or reproducing sound, are applicable to many, many different industries. So although we focus primarily on working with music and recorded audio, there's also potential career opportunities within film, post-production, TV, games, or essentially any music for media.
It's a massive network of musicians, professionals, there's events, opportunities. It's a living, thriving network of people at your fingertips.
It is definitely a good time to really own your artistry and to really do you. And I like to think that that's what we're trying to do here in Point Blank as well, to give the students the tools and the confidence really to be able to step into the industry and own themselves and what they are all about.
Point Blank itself as a brand is globally recognised, easily one of the biggest music educators out there, from having different places based over in Los Angeles, Mumbai, based over in China, Ibiza. It's really quite a well-recognised name. If I go out to other places and explain, like I work for Point Blank, straight away people know who that is and who I'm working for.
So there you have it. Hopefully that's given you a bit more of an insight into the course, and also you get to meet there some of our awesome lecturers as well as some of our students that are currently studying that course. Obviously, Alex is going to be going into a bit more detail about it shortly. But before we move on, I just wanted to quickly shout out to a few of you who have let us know where you're from in the chat room. So, hey to David from Malaysia. We've got Andre here in London. We've got Peter from Namibia. Welcome. As well as Arturo from Mexico. We've got someone logging in from Warsaw, Poland. We've got someone in Croatia, Mia from Denmark, to Boho in Lesotho. So as you can see, really we've got truly quite an international and multicultural student body here at Point Blank Music School. And that's really reflected also in our student body here in London on campus. We truly are a global community that welcomes students from all over the world. And we can't wait to have you come and study with us here at Point Blank. So thanks so much for joining us today. Now moving forward, I want to kind of just go into a bit of kind of sort of broad detail about the course itself. So many of you logging on today might be potentially thinking about coming and studying our music production sound engineering degree. Some of you may have already applied and you maybe made an offer to come and join us maybe this September or next year in 2025. And there might be some of you that already booked on and you're decided that you're coming here to Point Blank. This webinar basically today is an opportunity for you to really find out all the details about the course and get your questions answered as well. If you have any questions for us, for Alex, for myself, pop those in the chat room. We're going to be answering those throughout today's session as well as at the Q&A at the end of today's webinar. So let's start and look a bit about the course. So the Music Production Sound Engineering degree is a Bachelor of Arts honours degree. It is validated by Middlesex University. So Middlesex partner with Point Blank, they partner with us, they quality assure and they accredit our courses. But everything is developed and it's delivered by Point Blank here in our state-of-the-art studio facilities in North East London. I'm going to be going into a bit more detail about those very shortly. We offer 2 or 3 year pathways. So some of you might be wondering what the difference is. A 2-year degree is going to be accelerated, it's a lot more intensive. You're doing the same amount of study that you would do in a 3-year, but in a shorter period of time. And the 3-year is typically, a more traditional career pathway. There are 3 enrollments per year. So we have enrollments in September, January, and April. Hopefully you've got an idea as to when you might want to start. But if you don't know, just let us know. You can put any questions to us in the chat room. Now, a question we get asked quite a lot is about study modes and timetables. So all of our degree courses in the Music Production Sound Engineering degree, it's a full-time course. So we recommend you treat it like a full-time job. You should be putting in 30 to 40 hours per week to make the most of the course. Typically, you're going to be looking at doing 2 to 3 classes per week. And classes take place either in the mornings or the afternoons, Monday to Friday. However, we are open 7 days a week. And as part of the course fees, you've got access to all the studio facilities to come in and practice, to work on your assignments, your coursework, to collaborate with other students, and really maximize all of the facilities that are available to you here at Point Blank. You get loads of individual attention as well here at Point Blank. So we like to operate in really small class sizes, maximum 16 students, ensuring you get loads of individual attention, loads of focused one-on-one time with our expert lecturers, helping you progress and get better at music production and sound engineering. That's the aim of the game for us here. Moving on from this, I wanted to talk to you very briefly about our industry partnerships. Over the years, we've partnered up with pretty much every single main player you'll find in the music industry. So software companies like Ableton, Native Instruments, Waves, for instance, Spitfire Audio, as well as hardware companies like SSL, Pioneer DJ, and Native Instruments who make hardware, who basically kit out all of our studios with the latest and best state-of-the-art equipment there is. We want you working with the same kit that you're then going to find in the real world once you've graduated, so that when you do go and get a job in the music industry, you know what you're working with and you can deliver the goods straight away. Now, something that's really exciting that's coming up for this September 2024 is our brand new campus. We're really excited to be opening a new school over 2 stories. It's going to be about 5 times bigger than the current space that we've got. So over all of our facilities, we're looking at 30,000 square feet. Here's a few mock-ups of what's in store. We've got a brand new hub and performance space, live performance space with a stage, a PA system. There's going to be a student bar, which is obviously very important when you're thinking about where you want to go to university. We've also got vocal studios, so 2 brand new vocal performance spaces and performance classrooms, as well as new recording studios. We're going to be operating brand new SSL Origin mixing consoles. There's a Dolby Atmos system in each of those studios, as well as brand new Dante systems too. We've got brand new production and DJ practice studios. There's 6 new production studios. We've got a brand new DJ studio alongside with the one we currently have, 2 new dedicated music business studios, and 9 practice studios with vocal booths. So all of this is available to you when you come and study with us at Point Blank. You've got access to all of these amazing facilities as a Point Blank student. Finally, I wanted to talk to you quickly about our library and study zones. We want spaces for you to break out, to collaborate, to work with other students, but also to have access to loads of resources so you can, work on your coursework, you can help develop your portfolio and really sort of hone your skills as a professional music producer and a sound engineer. Now, what's included on the course? So you get loads of studio lab time. There's one-on-ones with your teachers, with Alex, for instance. You can get those on and off campus, as well as access to our world-class VLEs. That's a online portal. We have access to all your materials. You can upload your assignments. You can download projects, templates, samples. You've got access to all sorts of content to help you improve. We also do a lot of guest lecture masterclasses and exclusive events. I'll talk to you a bit more about those shortly, as well as having student supports, wellbeing and counselling services available to you whilst you're studying with us here at Point Blank. So remember, if you have any questions about any of this, pop those in the Q&A and we'll be answering those a little later on. I can see that there's a few questions that have come in. We'll be answering those very shortly. Now, something else I wanted to talk to you about very briefly too is what I like to call the Point Blank ecosystem. So I know a lot of you here today are obviously interested in our music production and sound engineering degree, but we also offer a few other degrees too. And so what that means is that whilst you're a student here at Point Blank, you've got the opportunity to work and collaborate with other students studying other subjects. And that can be a great opportunity for you to start networking and making contacts. So the way that I like to look at it is Point Blank is like a mini music industry within our 4 walls where you get to learn, you get to grow, you get to collaborate, you get to make mistakes and start meeting people and start networking and start accessing opportunities. So that can be with other producers, with managers who are doing music business, with DJs who are doing our DJ performance degree, with people that want to start their own businesses like their record labels or putting on events, or our radio students that tend to go and work at places like the BBC or other commercial radio stations. So there's loads of opportunities for you to start networking, start growing, start learning, and then applying that into the real world once you've graduated. Moving on to our events and opportunities, it's really important that we connect you with the music industry. Now, it's more than just a course when you come and study with us at Point Blank. It's also about looking at what happens after the course, when you've graduated, when you've finished. So we want to connect you to the music industry. We'll do that through listening sessions, we'll do that through student showcases, and we do loads of masterclasses with industry experts. So we'll get music producers in, we'll get record label owners in, A&R representative, all manner of people that have been there, that have done it, that have worked in the music industry and that are working in the music industry today, and they're here to share their experience. They're there to inspire you and to help you figure out the next moves you should be making to go on and be as successful as they've been. So that's it from me for now. I know Alex has been waiting very patiently. Thank you very much, Alex. But I think it's an opportunity for for us to find out a little bit about you first of all. So can you kind of tell us a little bit about yourself? Sort of how did you get started in making music and becoming a music producer? What was your journey?
My background was originally as a guitarist, and I got into buying records. I grew up in London, got into the club scene, the music scene, started DJing, and was fascinated by the idea of what a sampler did.
Yeah.
And I had some decks, sold my decks, saved up, bought a sampler, and that's how I got into making music, and met some like-minded individuals. I was part of a collective called Bugs in the Attic.
Mm-hmm.
We were from West London. We were known for making a certain type of music known as broken beat.
Check it out, by the way. It's awesome stuff. I'd recommend it highly.
I'm still making music within that kind of genre now. Done a lot of remixes, worked for major labels, independent labels. I run a label. I do a show on a station in London called Rinse FM, a weekly show.
Yeah.
I also work with people
Worth
at
checking out
Worldwide
too.
FM.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my journey in music, and I got into teaching at Point Blank. I said, well, this particular role I started in 2019, but I was doing freelance teaching for Point Blank prior to that, as part of the online school we've got, and also doing London class as well. So I've been involved with Point Blank for a little bit over 10 years now.
Amazing. Well, it sounds like you're bringing a wealth of experience
Yeah.
to the table here, which I think is really important. And I should actually mention that for all of our lecturers that teach at Point Blank, come with an extensive background, just like Alex, as music producers, as engineers, and they're still very much involved in the music industry too. So Alex, can you kind of give us a bit of an idea as to kind of who this course might appeal to? What kind of student would typically kind of want to be looking to study our music production sound engineering degree?
Well, primarily someone who's got an interest in music, passion for music.
Very important, yeah.
Quite often, we tend to attract students who are interested in electronic music, or the various types of electronic music, from trap to techno to house music. We also get students who are interested in jazz and rock, but I think it's, we do have a lot of students who are interested in club culture, electronic music, and so forth. I would say the kind of person who would study on this course is someone who's interested in pursuing that, but also interested in pursuing their horizons, widening their skill set, essentially developing in a way that's going to give you the skills to kind of go out into the industry and have what one might call a portfolio career. So you might be pursuing an artist career, doing your thing, and you might be doing podcast production or radio production, or you might be doing live sound somewhere, or you might be working in a studio. So it's that kind of student.
Okay, awesome stuff. Well, let's kind of dive a little bit deeper then into the course itself. So it's broken down into 3 years if you're going to be doing our 3-year degree, or 2 years if you're doing the 2-year degree, obviously. But essentially, it's 3 different levels, right?
Yes.
So should we have a look at level 4 first? And I guess, maybe start us off with kind of, where it might all begin for a student starting the degree.
So level 4 is kind of, it's not foundation year, but it's your first year. It's year 1.
Right.
And that's where it's kind of really about sort of leveling up skills. So we do a music production module. You would choose to do that on either Logic or Ableton. That's really developing your DAW skills.
Yeah.
There's a music composition module, which is really about application of music theory. Sound design, we start looking at signal flow, synthesis, how to create sounds, properties of sounds, and so forth. We have a music industry module, which is very much about the structure of the music industry, the different components that make up the music industry. Very important. I wish I'd learnt that kind of stuff
I
at
agree
that age.
totally, yeah, absolutely.
Sound engineering, which is really very much thinking about, okay, well, how do you start setting up microphones? How do you record drums? How do you record vocals, and so forth? Production styles is looking at the culture around different genres, different styles of music.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's really kind of a foundation year, leveling up the skills.
And can you tell us a little bit about, so how would a student be assessed? What kind of coursework they need to do, or projects they have to do? Are there any exams on the course or anything like that?
We don't do any exams on the course.
Okay.
It's very much about practical work, so it's always going to be coursework. The production modules, composition modules, sound design, sound engineering, production styles, largely practical work. There is academic work as well. For example, the music industry assignment would be an essay.
Yeah.
For production styles, you would write a case study. Alongside your practical work, you would often be asked to, say, provide a reflective piece of writing about your production project, or you would create a video commentary on your music composition assignment. So I would say across the whole program, I would say it's probably about 70% practical work, and then 30% sort of written presentation and so forth.
Awesome. And so what kind of level of producer would you be after level 4 when you finish the first year? Kind of, how good would a student be at producing, would you say, at that typically?
That's a very good question, and almost impossible to answer. We have some students who come in and they're already at a reasonable level. We have other students. There was a student who I met at an event we did with a film school we partnered up with, who had just started in October.
Yeah.
And she was already making music to picture, and it was quite impressive.
Right.
So I would say, if you put the time in, you could be on the way to being reasonably competent.
Great. Well, let's have a look at sort of what happens next. So level 5, which would be year 2 and 3 year, we start diving a bit deeper, right? And I noticed that there are kind of threads that are going through the course.
Yes.
So we've got another business module,
Yeah.
another sound design module.
Exactly.
So we're taking it up a level, right?
Yeah, and that's a key point. There are kind of threads. There's production threads, there's composition. We have the sound design, which is kind of related to both production and sound engineering. We have the sound engineering modules, and as you said, the business modules as well.
Yeah.
So a module that I teach and lead on is a creative production remix. That's something that's very much close to what I've done in my career and continue to do in my music career.
And I think we're going to be kind of looking at that a little bit later on as well, right?
We are, yeah.
Awesome.
Composing for media is very much about composing for film and TV and various other types of media.
Yeah.
Art of mixing is, you've done sound engineering in the first year. Art of mixing is then putting yourself in the situation of a mix sound engineer, where you might be asked to mix a band. Marketing and branding is looking at music brands and how you might go, how someone else might go about marketing themselves and branding themselves, and how you might go about doing that as well. Advanced sound design builds upon the sound design module at level 4, and mastering is about is again one of the sound engineering modules, but that's the mastering process.
So I've actually got a question here that I think maybe might fit in quite nicely with that. We've got one here from Spire. I think I've said your name correctly, hopefully, which says, will Point Blank teach us about acoustics? So maybe that kind of fits in with the sort of sound engineering, mixing and mastering type.
Yeah, we don't have a specific acoustics module, or a specific acoustics module, I should say, but you would cover some of that stuff in sound engineering.
Cool. There you have it. Yeah. So we're going to be covering acoustics.
Yeah, I mean, that's quite a big subject.
Yeah.
And I think you could do a whole module in that, but
I mean, we'll be looking at understanding the room acoustics, where you're recording, for instance, and finding the acoustic balance within the mix. I imagine.
Yeah.
Sweet, awesome. So let's move on then, I guess, onto level 6. So this is the 3rd and final year, where we really start reaching sort of the sharp end of the degree. So let's go into a bit more about these particular modules.
So really, as you progress through the degree, you're looking to become more autonomous in your learning and as an individual.
Yeah.
And what you're working towards is the professional portfolio module. We've got it here listed as 2 modules, or listed as 2, but that's because it's split over 2 terms.
Yeah.
So it's a project, it's a practical project that's informed by research. So what you will do is you will pick a subject area that's been of particular interest to you over the course of your studies. So there's a module here, we've got audio for games, for example, which is about creating audio solutions for computer games. And a student might decide this is something they really want to pursue professionally, or part of what they want to pursue professionally, and they might think, okay, well, I'm going to do a project that's going to research into this area, and then potentially you're going to plan. You're going to spend 1 term researching and planning the project, and you're going to spend the 2nd term actually executing that project. And with the 2nd term, the idea is that you get paired. Say for example, you decide you want to do that kind of project, or you want to do a sound engineering project or a composition group. The 2nd term, then you would be paired with kind of a supervisor or a specialist in that area. So one of our lecturers who is a specialist in game audio or sound engineering or production and so forth.
So they can select whatever it is they want to specialise in. They can kind of choose the direction they want to take it in.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, it has to be something related to something they've studied.
Of course.
In this field.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's decided by the student. Similarly, music entrepreneur, at that point, it's a self-directed plan. That's the assessment. That's what you're being asked to do. So that might be you want to create a business plan for what you're going to do. It might be that you're going to create a plan for a business idea you've got. It might be a release plan for something you're doing for your professional portfolio.
Okay.
So that's the direction it's going in.
And are students allowed? I know a question I get asked quite a lot is, can students kind of incorporate their own personal projects like in with their coursework? Is that something that they're able to do so they can kind of help develop, you know, their ideas, their personal ideas within their work?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's you know, this is student-centered learning, so that could get confused with, could I bring some music in that I started before my degree and use it for my portfolio project? No, that's
Okay.
not. It's got to be something done with for the purpose of that module.
Right.
But if you into a specific type of music or a specific type of game audio or sound editing or something, yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Awesome stuff. Cool. Well, it all sounds really exciting.
Yeah.
And then after the 3 years, I guess you graduate, that's it. And then you go on into the real world. And so a question obviously that we get asked all the time is, you know, what happens next? What career can I have
Yeah.
in the music industry? And there are loads of careers to be had, obviously, and you've worked in loads of different capacities yourself in the music industry. So we can kind of have a look at kind of a quick breakdown as to kind of what might be available to you. But what might a student typically go on and do once they graduate from this degree?
So we have some students who go off and become producers.
Yeah.
There's a couple of students who actually met here who formed a very successful production duo under the name The Elements. They travelling all around the world producing different artists. Then we might have someone who goes and gets. I'm down the road at Rinse FM and I've got Point Blank students working in there, so I go down there and I'm bumping into people who I used to teach. There are people who are working in podcast production. There are people who are working in podcast production and working in a studio, or working in sort of a game audio company and pursuing their own artist career. So it's a real variety of different careers.
Yeah.
Some of them are working. We've got people working at record labels. We've got people working at places like Beatport, Defected, in A&R positions. Some people going into management, even though they've done a music production degree.
Yeah.
So
Cool.
it's
Awesome. So yeah, it sounds pretty exciting in terms of
I
what
think
there is out there.
Yeah, I think obviously London is a city with a lot of opportunity, and my experience of working in music is you do one thing and it opens. If you do one thing to a good level, or a level that earns you some recognition, it might open the door somewhere else.
Sure, absolutely, yeah. I can't stress that enough as well. Like connections, a network is really vital, and it could be through, one job opportunity or work experience opportunity that you get through a contact that could lead you onto something else, and it can open the door into something else, and things can snowball. And you always need to be sort of putting yourself out there and working and sharing your passion for music with as many people as you can, and good things tend to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Brilliant. Well, I think there's another kind of video that I wanted to share that we kind of wanted to highlight as well, which I guess, can you tell us a bit more about it, the portfolio type project?
Yeah, so this is an example of not the whole project, but part of a student's project from a couple of years ago. This was something that was completed actually, I think, during sort of the COVID period. The student wanted to create a range of compositions for different visual media, and that's what we're going to look at now.
All right, sweet. Well, look, let's take a look at this video. It's pretty awesome, I think. Let's look. It's pretty awesome stuff.
Yeah.
So would that be kind of like more, I guess, in the sound design realm of kind of maybe audiovisual kind of multimedia type work you'd find?
Within that one, you're hearing examples of sound design and composition. Might not be actually the way you would work professionally, because you might find that you've got a sound designer and a composer, but I think that's what this student wanted to do. So it was impressive work, that.
Yeah, absolutely, really impressive.
I just wanted to show that as an example of, obviously a lot of people will do something completely different. Some people might be testing sort of analog and digital digital sort of software, for example, or some people might be doing an artist project. So it's really, there's a real range of different types of projects we get.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I think we've got, I think you wanted to share with us a little bit about sort of, what you would cover on one of the modules.
Yes.
Examples of kind of work that you're going to be doing on the degree. So take us through, I think you had some stuff for creative production and remixing. Take us through how that might look.
Yeah, okay. So creative production and remix is a level 5 module. And I think, as I said, this is something that's been sort of key to my career development. I would call myself a producer, but probably in many ways I would say that I'm a remixer.
Okay.
And there's an argument that many people put forward to say that everything's a remix. So one of the things we really look to think about in this, or we cover in this module, is we look at remix culture as a whole, and then we look at it as a kind of direct thing of, here's a song, remix it.
Right.
We do a different song every term. The module's evolved somewhat over the years. This is the second version. This is like sort of version 2 of the module, I should say.
I think that's really important, actually, just to interject there, that one of the things that we kind of always do here at Point Blank is we're always constantly updating our module content. The music industry is always evolving, it's always changing, there's new technology, there's new techniques, things happen all the time. And it's important to keep our fingers on the pulse in terms of what's going. So I know that. Yeah,
and we change based on observations we make with students and their learning and so forth as
absolutely.
well. And so this version of the module has been running for just a year now, actually. So primarily what you're going to be asked to do is something that, and this is the same with a lot of our modules. So the same with, say, composing for media, audio for games. We're asking students to do things that we have done professionally over and over and over again, and things we continue to do.
So the same kind of work you're going to find in the real world, right?
Yeah. So it's very sort of authentic in that sense. There is an academic side to it as well. So with this module, you'll be asked to do a presentation video on a producer or artist of your choice. But the main assignment is, here's a song. What we want you to do is demonstrate your production style using this top line vocals. We select the song.
Okay.
And it's quite a challenge, because what it starts to do, it starts to draw from earlier modules. It starts to draw from the music production module, starts to draw from music composition, sound design, production styles. So it's building upon earlier modules. So I'll give you an example of the sort of thing we might do in class.
Yeah, let's take a look.
So this is an example. This might be an example I would show in class. So we're going to look at a song by Ariana Grande. I'm just going to play you a few seconds of the original, which is this one.
You love it how I move you love it how I touch you, my one. When all is said and done, you believe God is a woman, and I feel it after midnight, a feeling that you can't fight, my one. It lingers when we're done. You believe God is a woman. I don't wanna waste no time, yeah.
Okay, I'm not going to play any more of it than that. So broadly speaking, genre-wise, maybe sort of pop, trap, R&B type song. So I've got the a cappella here, and just listening to the original. This is the original with the original chords.
You love it how I move you love it how I touch you, my one. When all is said and done, you believe God is one.
Okay, so that's the original chords. We're going to look at a couple of different ways you might approach a remix. We'll look at another example as well. So this is approaching a remix from a more compositional style. So if I take away those chords and introduce these new chords, one of the first, or one of the most obvious ways to put a song into a new place is to change the harmony around it. We've got the top line vocal.
Yeah.
So these are some new chords around this. So
You love it how I move you love it how I touch you, my one. When all is said and done, you believe God is a woman, and I feel it after midnight, a feeling that you can't fight, my one. It lingers when we're done. You believe God is a woman.
So
taking it so much jazzier sort of vibe, right?
very jazzy, but that's not really where I want to go with this. I mean, you know, I put a kind of little beat in there just when I was doing, but this is like an exercise. I mean, this is an exercise I would encourage people to do if they want to, you know, just develop and practice like harmony, for example. But I wanted that there's no production idea here. So with that down, what you can then start to think about is taking that somewhere. So an example of this would be, and this is a work in progress, is this, which is taking those same chords but then starting to give it some kind of direction, you know, production wise. It's saying 73 BPM, but I think it's probably running at sort of double that.
Right.
Kind of a, I'll play it and we can discuss it. So using those same chords, same vocal. So that's the kind of thing that
Awesome.
you know, we'll be looking at doing. So again, typically in a class, you might say, okay, well, this is an exercise we're going to do this week.
Yeah.
Here's an example of how I might go about this, and then we'd do an exercise. Maybe we'd all work with the same song in class, for example, and then at the end of the class, we'd think, okay, well, let's hear the different directions people have taken with this.
Awesome.
So yeah, I mean, you know, another example could be, this is another exercise that we do, which is again, this module very much about trying to develop your voice as a producer, a creative voice. It's a very crowded marketplace. How do you stand out? There's a lot of generic music out there.
Yeah.
So this is an exercise where we work just with a limitation. The limitation being, you have to just use that one sound. That's all you get.
It.
That's your sound. You're going to make a track with that one sound.
That does sound challenging.
There are challenges to it. I mean, it is, but again, building upon earlier modules, you can start to, you know, sound design, music production, and so forth. So this is using that sound. This is the idea that I created. There's a whole bunch of there's a whole bunch of processes going on there. That's all coming from that kind of rim shot sound.
Yeah.
That can then potentially be repurposed into something else, which might be this. So when we talk about finding your sound, I wouldn't have made that particular beat with that particular set of sonics if I just got a bunch of sounds from elsewhere. So it's given me a specific sound. I could then combine that with a song. Again, a remix type.
Sweet.
So yeah, that's these are examples of a lot of the things we do in class. So we have a lot of fun with it. And what's really great about that exercise is you give that sound to a class of 16 people.
Yeah.
At the end of the class, everyone shares their work, and you just get so many different things. And I'm always surprised at the variation you get with that kind of thing.
It's about your creativity, right? Where you want to take it. Absolutely. That's really exciting. Thanks so much for sharing that with us. And hopefully it's given everyone a bit more of an insight into the teaching and the learning that you can expect on the course. I think it's really important to show you that, so that you're aware of, obviously, you know, what this is all about, you know, what you're going to be getting involved with when you come and study our music production sound engineering degree. And to me personally, all this is so exciting. I remember learning a lot about this when I did a music tech course back in the day. But seeing this all again and kind of the new techniques and things and ways you can take it, you know, it's inspiring, and hopefully it's inspiring you too. Cool, so listen, we kind of wanted to open up the floor to all of our viewers now for our Q&A. And I know that many of you have put some questions in already, so we're going to start answering those. But if you do have any more questions for us, pop those in the chat room, and we'll be answering those throughout the session. We've got about sort of 10-15 minutes, so we'll try and get through as many as we can before we wrap up for today. But I guess we'll start off with a really important question, actually, which has been put by a few of you here, and in particular by Andre, who wants to know what are the entry requirements for an adult without a music education background. So Andre, if you're looking to do a degree with us, there's two kind of sides to the entry requirements. First of all, there are academic entry requirements. So we're looking for 2 C's at A level, and an English language GCSE grade C, and a passion for music production more than anything. And I think Alex kind of mentioned earlier on that not everyone comes in at the same level. You know, some people might have already been producing music for a few years. Some people might have a formal musical background. Maybe they've studied, you know, an instrument up to, you know, grade 8 or grade 6 or something like that. Whereas others are kind of self-taught. They've been, you know, teaching themselves production at home in the studio. We just want to see your passion for music. That's the most important thing to get across. So when you apply, make sure you get that across in your personal statement as part of your portfolio of work, and it can showcase a few examples of tracks that you produced, or, you know, a few rough sketches, maybe some recordings that you've done of yourself. Anything that's going to really help get that across in your application. That's what we're looking for, and that's what we want when we see an applicant. And that you interview some of the applicants yourselves.
Exactly. I was going to say that's where, at that point, that's where we might request an interview, or often we would request an interview, and we would ask for a portfolio of music, and then we would have an interview with you over Zoom, and we'd discuss your portfolio, discuss what you're looking for from the course, and we'd make a decision based on that.
Yeah, and if you are, let's say if you're a mature student, so you're over the age of 21, then, you know, we take a bit more of a holistic approach to the application form. So, you know, we want to see that passion and that, you know, your drive for music, the examples of work you can showcase. We want to see that you're going to be a great student on the course, and that, you know, you want to go get yourself a career in the music industry thereafter. That's what we're about helping you achieve here. So let's move on forward. We've got a question here from James, who wants to know where the new location of the campus is. So actually, James, the campus is beneath our feet right now. We are in our original campus over at Penn Street. We've got another site, which is a 2-minute walk around the corner from where we are today, called Orsman Road, where we'll have studios over there, and there will be classes taking place over there. But the new campus is going to be opening at Penn Street, so it's beneath us. We've taken over the whole basement and ground floor of this huge Victorian warehouse over in East London, and we can't wait to see you there. So yeah, as soon as we're open, come down, check it out. We'd love to show you around for a tour. Moving on from here, we've got a question from Teboho. Says, are there any bursaries? If so, what are the requirements? So we do have bursaries, we have scholarships, which I'd urge you to go and check out on our website. And, you know, based on certain entry requirements being met, then we could potentially offer you a scholarship or bursary to help alleviate the costs. What I'd recommend doing, though, is getting in touch with one of us directly. Either drop us an email or give us a phone call. We'll be happy to discuss that in more detail with you over the phone, and kind of look at what we can maybe make work. Moving on from there, so we've got a question here from Jonathan. You might be able to help with this one. He wants to know, are there any recommendations for laptops for Ableton? What would you recommend getting if you want to work with Ableton?
Ooh, well, powerful one. I would be tempted in this day and age to probably go for a PC, because Ableton runs on a PC. Potentially, that's coming from someone who hasn't used a PC for many years, and I'm very much, you know, sort of tied to my Mac now. But I know just cost-wise that PCs are often more affordable. But just, you know, one with a lot of processing power. You know, the computers or laptops do the bulk of the work now. So that would be my recommendation.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, as long as you get something that's powerful, can process all the audio, you're going to be pretty sweet. If you do want to work with maybe a Logic Pro as well, then you might want to consider getting a Mac so you can run Ableton and Logic. Some producers do use that. I think we actually saw that on your computer earlier on. There's a bit of Logic, a bit of Ableton going on in there.
Yes, exactly.
And that's what we work with here at Point Blank too. So if you are thinking about switching between both, a Mac can be good.
Yeah, absolutely. If you want to use Logic, then you're going to have to work with Mac.
But if not, PC is great too. Cool. So let's move on from that. There's one here from Arturo who wants to know how much time per week should be allocated to the online degree. So actually, Alex is the online degree program leader as well. I mean, I'd say pretty much the same amount of time you would do in London. So like full-time job, 30, 40 hours a week, really, realistically.
Yeah, I mean, you've got the difference with the online is that you can study. There are certain things you have to, you've got the online masterclass, you've got your one-to-ones, but the course content, the notes and the videos are things you're going to follow in your own time, so potentially after work and at weekends.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the same amount of study as you would be in London. Absolutely.
Yeah. Cool. So there was one question here from Jaden, which was in the production side of the course. Will Point Blank teach us about remixing and sampling? Hopefully, Jaden, that little demo that Alex just did a little earlier on has answered that question.
Yes.
But absolutely, there's going to be loads on that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Cool. Next up, we've got one here from David. How many students do you have on the course each year? David asks. So David, we have multiple start dates per year. You may have seen that at the beginning of the webinar today. But September tends to be our busiest time. So I think for this September, over all of our degree programs and all of our professional courses, we're looking at welcoming around sort of 500 new students in September. That being said, we have whole other cohorts of students starting in January and April and July. So you're going to be meeting students coming and going, whilst you're studying with us here at Point Blank. If you're asking about sort of availability on the course, because we have multiple start dates, then we can always make you an offer for the next start date if places do get filled up. So definitely apply, and we look forward to considering you for a place on the course. Next, there's one question here from the Purple Bengalese. Hopefully I said that all right. And it was, what would be the kind of up and downsides, or the upsides and the downsides of the 2-year versus the 3-year degree course? What would you say kind of the main differences are?
Well,
Alex?
the course is designed over 3 years. So as we saw earlier, level 4, level 5, level 6. The upside is if you want to complete your degree quickly, it's going to be more intense. Certainly at the start, the first 2 terms you're going to be doing 3 modules a term. So that you really need to hit the ground running.
Yeah, absolutely.
If it was me, I'd probably be looking to do it over 3 years. But I would say that the upside is that if you want to get through it quicker.
Yeah, for sure. And there's one other thing I'd add to that as well, is that there is a slight difference in the price of the course. So the 2-year degree is less overall, however, it's more per year than the 3-year degree. So if you want to factor in your budget for the course, bear that in mind as well. Hopefully that maybe gives you a bit of help there too. Next up, we've got one here from Spire. This one's related to an IELTS. So the IELTS is an English language qualification. And will it do for applying for Point Blank? Yes. So we typically would ask for an IELTS level B2 with a score of 6.0 overall, with 5.5 in each category. So listening, reading, writing, and speaking. If you're looking to apply for a visa, you'll need to do an IELTS for UK VI. So that's UK Visa and Immigration. It's really important because you'll need that to apply for your visa to come and study with us. But typically we recommend IELTS, so if you get that through to us as English language, that's perfect. Next up, we've got a question here which I think kind of links in nicely with this, which is, do you accept international students? And what is the deal with accommodation for foreign students coming from Singapore? So we accept students from all over the world, just to let everybody know. In terms of accommodation, we recommend lots of student residences within the area of Point Blank. London's a very big city. There's lots of different options that you can consider. It really depends on your budget. So there can be some quite expensive options, and there can be some more affordable options that might be a bit further afield. So we've got a really handy list on our website of accommodation options. So I'd recommend checking that out, and hopefully it gives you a bit of a better idea. If not, get in touch with us and we can guide you through that as well. And yeah, please apply. We'd be delighted to consider you for a place on the course. I think we've got time for a few more questions, and then we will need to wrap it up. So we've got one here from Rajesh, who says, what would the fee structure be for international students? So it's a very good question. If you are an international student, there is a bit of an excess included on the regular course fees. So I'd recommend checking that out on the course pages. You'll find out what the fee structure is for an international student, what it might be for a home student, so someone who's in the United Kingdom. It does differ slightly. So it does end up being a little bit more if you are an international student. So please factor that in when applying to us. We got one here from Vicky. Do you have to have taken any music or music tech A-level to be able to study this course post 18? So is that something we want? Music tech, music A-level?
I would say it's
Beneficial.
It's beneficial, but it's not essential. No.
Absolutely, yeah. If you've got it, great. It's going to help strengthen your application. But if you haven't done that, don't worry.
What I would suggest anyone does is any sort of stuff they can do on their own. So if for example, you've been making beats or using Logic, using Ableton, and you've never kind of sort of engaged at all with sort of some, say, music theory, just try and at least just get the basics down and learn what you can ahead of starting. Because you're just going to build upon all of that.
Totally.
So,
yeah, I mean, I'd mirror that as well. We get a lot of students who apply who haven't, done music A-level or music tech. They've done traditional subjects at A-level, for instance, but they've been producing at home. They work in the evenings and the weekends. They collaborate with other people outside, and so they've got experience to back up their applications. That's fine too. If you apply with that sort of a background, it's no problem.
Yeah.
We've got one more here. One from Matt. Would you suggest having a home studio setup, and would it be beneficial to do so even though there are great facilities on campus? It's a great question, Matt. What would you say?
Well, I would say have the basics. So have a laptop or a computer at the very minimum, and something decent to monitor on, preferably some reasonable monitors, which are relatively affordable now. Then potentially, but not necessarily essential at that point, is an audio interface. Again, they can be reasonable. Some kind of MIDI controller, something like this, for example, or Ableton Push or something. I would say so.
Yeah, definitely.
Some kind of basic setup. I don't think you need loads. I think there's a lot to be said for sort of limiting yourself. I'm a big advocate for that kind of stuff, but you can do a lot in this software now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I agree with that 100%. And remember, you've got loads of fantastic facilities here, like this studio that we're in today. All of our studio facilities, all of our classrooms can double up as practice studios, so you can book in time with the SSL. Obviously, you can't get a 48-channel mixing console in your house unless you live in a mansion, which most of us don't. So you've got all these great facilities here in London. But if you do have a basic setup, like Alex said, to keep working from at home, then you've got the best of both worlds, really. And that's kind of all you need, Then it's about your creativity and really working on honing your skills and your craft. Cool. Well, listen, that's all we've got time for today. Apologies if we haven't had time to answer all of your questions, but we're going to be following up with everybody, and we encourage you all to get in touch with us as well, and we'll keep the conversation going. But yeah, listen, I want to thank you, Alex, for joining us today.
Thank you.
It's been amazing. It's been great to learn about the music production sound engineering degree and see a little bit about what they're going to be learning on the course and kind of what's included. I also want to thank everybody for attending today. Thanks for joining us from wherever you are in the world. It's great to see such an international community wanting to join us here at Point Blank, and we hope that you found all the information useful and it's given you a better idea as to whether you want to apply to come at Point Blank, or it's just reinforced your decision that you already are coming and studying with us at Point Blank. I also want to thank our video team who are producing the whole thing for us today. as well as my colleague John, who's been manning the chat room. So thanks so much to all of them. There's one last thing that I'd like to share with all of you before we let you go and enjoy the rest of your day. And that's to quickly talk about our student successes. Our main goal as a school at Point Blank is to help our students be as successful as they possibly can and help them into careers in the music industry. There's no point in us doing this otherwise, if it's not to try and help you go on and become the best version of yourselves you can be in the music industry. And that's what studying at Point Blank is all about. We want to do everything in our power to help you go and start professional careers as music producers, as sound engineers, or whatever direction you want to take your career in, and help you get the best possible start that you can get. And we've been really lucky over the years that we've had many, many students that have gone on to study this degree course or many of our other courses who have gone on to achieve incredibly highly in the music industry. And I wanted to share with you a few examples of some of those students. And what we aim to do is help you achieve exactly the same. So thank you so much for joining us today. We look forward to seeing you on a Point Blank course in the very near future. Any questions, send them our way. And thank you so much for attending. Take care and goodbye.
Everybody feel it, come around with the rhythm, it's a sound. Everybody come around with round. Everybody feel it, come around with the rhythm, it's a sound. Everybody get down when we give it to you.
Everybody feel it, come around with round. Everybody feel it, come around with round. Everybody feel it, come around with round.
Everybody in the bump. Everybody in the bump. Everybody in the bump. Everybody in the bump. Everybody in the bump.